We are looking for it all. Hello, welcome back to Lord Jesus. I'm going to say Face and Purpose, wrong show. Tears to Purpose, Real Talk. I am your host, Elder Lakia Barnett. And you guys, I am by myself today. Listen, Miss Hubbard couldn't be here today, but we are missing her already. But it's all good because we still have an excellent show waiting for you all. So go ahead and like, tag, and share down your timeline and let somebody know that Tears of Purpose Real Talk is on. We have an awesome guest. He's an author, and I'm sure many other things that he has his hand to. So we can't wait to talk to him. But first, we got to get some household stuff out of the way. And like I said, y'all better get the tagging and sharing and letting somebody know we on here, okay? Happy Wednesday to everybody. And we are back. And first, let me say happy belated birthday to my mother, the mother who's birthed me, Kim Vanessa Thompson. Shout out to her. Listen, her birthday was on the 4th of July. So I pray everybody was safe on the 4th. Unfortunately, there was some sad news that did come across to me about Chicago. So we want to keep them in prayer. There was a mass shooting that was done there. And listen, I keep saying this week after week, day after day, we have to stay prayed up and we have to stay vigilant in what is going on because the enemy is not making it a secret about what he is doing. So we have to stay vigilant and alert, seek the Holy Ghost about where you're supposed to be going. If he say sit down and don't go nowhere, don't go nowhere. You understand what I'm saying? So it is that important in this season that we listen to the voice of the Lord because it could be saving our whole life. Okay, so we send our condolences out to the families that may have lost people. From my understanding, there were 6 killed and there were about 38 people that were injured, if I'm not mistaken. But we are keeping Chicago in prayer. So next up, we got some more birthdays, and today is my spiritual daughter, also leader of the Chicago hub for Tears to Purpose, Miss Lakeisha Giles Ninick. Today is her birthday, and we are screaming happy birthday from the top of our lungs, making sure that she's having a fabulous day today. So happy birthday to Lakeisha. And the reason why she's in here with her bestie, which is my other daughter, which is Jade Solis, her birthday is Friday. So you guys make sure that y'all hearted up in here for these 2 awesome women in God who are literally holding Chicago down for Tears of Purpose. And we cannot wait to see what else they have their hands to in this season. So happy birthday, daughters, ladies, everybody who tunes in, please put your hearts up and say happy birthday to these great leaders for our Chicago hub. Amen. So happy birthday. All these July birthdays, y'all. I'm telling y'all, it's terrible. It's like June, right? So listen, we're going to move into some other things, but you guys know I love the film and TV industry. And so we are going to jump into a film by Mike Fox. Let's see what he's doing. This is by him, so check it out.
Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above all rubies. What woman in their right mind can honestly live up to these ridiculous standards? Certainly not this one.
Who can find a virtuous woman? See, I thought I was one. So, how did we get here?
Once you put anything before God, all hell breaks loose.
Oh, don't check me.
All right, that's enough.
You ready?
Go on in there! Cry to God!
Are you okay?
Yeah, why wouldn't I be?
We have to be that man in order for them to be that woman.
Tell me you didn't just gamble away all my money, Anthony!
God saved Ant's life.
Please help me through this.
What if you were already the husband I needed? Excuse you.
I'm sorry.
Say it again.
But why did Aunt do nothing about it?
Trust me, Aunt's gonna take care of that.
I just want you to see what you got to look forward to.
What a waste of time.
You do move. Hey.
I'm angry at myself for allowing you to change me into this monster.
This is your mess. You clean it up.
You made this bed, now you sleep in it.
Are you gonna leave? Or do I need to shoot you in your knee?
Who can find a virtuous woman?
Who can find a virtuous woman?
For her price is far above all rubies,
The heart of her husband will trust in her.
so that he shall have no need of sport.
She do him good all the days of her life.
Shout out to Mr. Jamil. He's the film producer in Indiana, and just awesome, just awesome. And that was one of his films called Proverbs 31. You guys can go check that out on Amazon Prime and Tubi. So go check it out. Go check it out. And so next up, we are going to jump into The Box by Mr. Mike Fox. Choose wisely. So this is a super dope project film that all family children can watch. So make sure that you guys go check this out also on Amazon Prime. I believe it's on Tubi as well, which is a free movie site that you guys, if you don't know, go check that out. It is an excellent movie to watch with the family. So we got to keep this moving a little bit because Mr. Mike Fox is on a roll, but this time he wants to make you laugh. So check out The Wannabe.
What happens when faith meets fun?
I know what you guys are thinking.
Coming soon, a faith-based comedy sitcom, Wanna Be a Star.
Just bring shivers down my spine.
Join Lardell's Aim for the Skies acting school with your favorite acting teacher, Dr. Cool.
I'm as cool as my name.
Who doesn't know how to act.
I'm surprised you left out Pride Rock.
Don't be late for class and miss the fun.
Great.
Because it ain't cool unless it's Dr. Cool.
Class is in session.
Super cool. Shout out to Mr. Mike Fox. We got to get him back because he's doing some great things. So you guys stay tuned. I think this will be dropping very, very soon. And listen, if you are you have gospel films or anything inspirational, listen, we are a plug for you guys. So make sure that you connect with me and seeing about getting your preview shown on one of our shows going forth in the near future. So you can email me at askme2dance@gmail.com if you want to have your film or project or commercial played here right on air. Make sure you do that. So listen, now it's time for our special guest. And again, he is an author and so many other things. I'm sure that he has his hand to. So we're getting ready to get all the tea about what he's been doing. So welcome Charles Moore to Tears of Purpose Real Talk.
Hello.
Hello, Charles. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. Thanks for having me on the show.
So what do you think about those movie previews you didn't saw so far? Pretty dope, right?
Yeah, they were dope. Yeah, great.
Yes, and
I love the movies too.
Yes, I think it's really good. those two gentlemen, they're really working very hard to change the game in the film industry. So I can't wait to see what else they have coming out. But today we are going to talk about you. So listen, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone that is speaking. You guys remember to like, tag, and share all down your timeline and let somebody know that we are on with Mr. Charles Moore. And you go ahead and let everybody know a little bit about you, Charles.
I'm an author, but actually I'm a local businessman, right? I'm a CPA that in one of our principal businesses managing schools, and we manage nonprofits and for-profits. I've owned a road construction business. We've also had a portfolio of houses. I'm on the state accountancy board for the state of Michigan. I was the treasurer for the gubernatorial candidate in 2010 for the governor's race. And I do a lot of advising to troubled businesses and troubled municipalities. But so that's a little bit about me. I'm housed out of Lansing, Michigan, home of the Magic Man, by way of Fort Wayne, Indiana, and by way of Marion, Alabama. Right. So I'm an Alabama guy, and that's how my book started. Actually, it started where my mother was walking down the street in rural Alabama, in Marion, Alabama, right next door to Uniontown, and we talk about it's called the aftermath of Brown versus education, and I talk about this because the question that people ask all the time, did Brown really deliver what it was supposed to? Are kids actually now getting a better education because Brown was enacted? And so basically, I do a comparison and contrast of today and back in 1954, and basically say, are we better off? I mean, are we learning better now? And I think it's a pretty good read. You know, I got some good reviews on it. I've sold a lot of books. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay. So you have your hands in a lot of things, which is cool. Always super cool. And I think what's so great is that you are a male and really putting your hands to the plow, which we don't see a lot of anymore. It's always seeming like the women are leading out with a lot of things. So it's really good to hear that there are real males that are out here really trying to put their hands to the plow in their communities and businesses, because that gives our younger men something to really look up to and something else to do. So that goes into my question I wanted to ask you is, even when you were, writing this book, I always like to find out about the process of how these things came about. But was there ever a time where you felt like, I'm not so sure about this book, like you wanted to quit even before you got finished with the writing? Like, talk to us about that process.
Well, that's an interesting talk. So it took me 2.5 years to actually get the book from start to finish. And what the primary impetus when I pushed it over the edge, I had a friend of mine, his name Bruce Davis. We were very close. He was a banker by trade, and we played basketball together. We was real competitive, and he passed away. And right before he passed away, he got really active in the Black movement, right? And which I've always been active. But one of the things that it taught me is that I needed to get this done before something happened to me, right? I need to put this out here so that people can understand how we can get these babies taught, right? And I think that's what really kind of pushed me over the edge. And then I went through the process of, I wrote the book, and then I had a proofreader, right? And the proofreader was a proofreader from Stanford University, and she loved the book. I mean, she loved it. And then once I had the proofreader and I had the manuscript, I sent it to Page Publishing, and 2 days later they called me and said, "You got a deal." And so I was pretty fortunate that it was something that they wanted to take on. So then I went through the process with them to get it published, and I got it actually published last year on my birthday, July the 12th, 1965. Yeah, so it was published last year and actually released on July the 12th, 2021. So it happened on my birthday, and I dealt with the issue where you're talking about males and the females, Brown versus education, and I explained to people how it was really black men fighting white men for their children to have access, right, to opportunities, and black men actually won the fight. You know, Thurgood Marshall and all of them, they actually won the fight. But the one thing that you have to be careful for, once you win the fight, that don't mean the battle is over, right? So what white males did, I shouldn't say white males, it may not have been the intent, but what happened is that most people, it was the black males that got the least out of this, right? So when Brown versus education, like what happened is the households in black communities basically changed from a male dominated to female dominated, right? Because women, for whatever reason, went to college and started graduating, and they're graduating at a clip of 7-1 women to men, right? So, and with a college degree, you're earning more money, right? And then if you take the lower half of the spectrum, in 1964, they gave the poverty programs, which was the welfare and everything else. So that meant the money was coming in to the household, and to a large degree was just taking the place of a man. It was providing food and shelter and the things that men needed, right? And so over a period of time, black men have lost their place in our community, right? And this book really depicts on how that happened, right? We now, we earn less, you know, and I tell people this, and I say this in the book, that why there's so much black male on black male crime is that the only people that a black man can actually do something to and get away with it is another black man, right? You know, because if you touch your kids, they got 411. You know, after OJ did his thing, you know, you going to jail if you touch your wife or girlfriend. So, but if you jump on or fight another black man, nothing will happen, right? And we see it all the time where black men taking their anger out on each other because that's the only thing they're left to talk about, right? And then so I talk about that evolution there and how young black men or blacks in general, when they go to school, Brown was set up where it was a community school where everybody lived there, the teachers, the administrators, the staff, everybody. And today, that's not the case. The only people that live in the urban communities are the kids that go there. The teachers, the teachers union, all of them, they've all moved to the suburbs. And in my book, I make the statistical data shows that if you're in a school where 70% of the teachers and administrative staff and the degree staff live in that community, you have great academic performance. If you have a school district with less than 25% of the professional staff that actually live in that district, you have a poor performing district. I mean, that is probably the biggest impetus right now from Brown, because the other side of Brown was not only it was the kids, but it was also adequate pay for teachers. And people don't understand housing integration was primarily done by educators, because back in the day, educators had to live in the community that they taught in. So when they integrated teaching ranks, administrative ranks of Black, they were the first ones to be allowed to move into white neighborhoods. So I go into all of that, right? And that's the aftermath of Brown versus education.
Wow. What I like is that you have done your due diligence in just research and really making sure that the reader understands, your point that you're trying to make in this book. So when you're looking at society today and just where America stands, how are you feeling about this? Just as a man, like I'm talking about not even, the things that you have accomplished at your hands or, being an author, but just as a man per se. And I see that you have been married for about 10 years. You've been married for 10 years, over 10 years?
Yeah, 10
okay, so that's
12
first of all, listen, that's a long time. Okay. Like most people ain't even making it past 6 months now. Yeah. So this is a beautiful thing now. So how are you feeling just watching the males in like in this day and time? How does that make you feel?
Well, it's concerning, right? Because a lot of males are just lost at this point, right? I mean, life is serving, got his foot on his neck all the time, right? I mean, I don't think people really understand poverty, because I come from the poorest zip code in the state of Indiana, 48906, right? I came Weiser Park, right? And what people don't understand is it's some people so poor when they look up, they can't see the bottom, right? How do you tell that person not to rob or steal or for essential needs, right? Not necessarily to be Nino Brown or anybody, but just to eat and keep clothes and stuff like that. And young men are thrown out there to the wolves, and we have to get to a point where men my age come back and tutor and mentor, and we got to get fathers back into the house, right? We got to get male figures back in the community. And that's really our biggest problem, is that in the Black community, in every other community, we don't have the kind of violence we have in Black communities, because the Black men won't put their feet down, right? I mean, if they in the communities where they have watches and stuff like that, they can stop this crime, because it's just a bunch of young kids going crazy in our communities, just running roughshod, right? So we have to empower Black males a little bit more. And I think people have to encourage them, because they've been beat so much, right? You got a society where everything is built for your failure, right? I mean, every time you go somewhere and you watch on TV where they can just hunt Black men down and shoot them in front of everybody, and nothing happens, right? It's scary, right? And so we have to protect those men and lift them up. And I try to do that at every opportunity, right? And one of the things I want to leave this nugget with the people, that Black people have one real distinct problem in America. And if we solve this problem, the rest of the problems take care of themselves or are fixable quicker, right? We're in the capital of capitalism, and we don't have capital. right? I mean, so the lifeblood that makes America run, we don't have access to it. And if you don't have access to capital in America, you work or are subservient to the capitalist, right? And everything in contracting, when they talk about we can't get into construction, is because of bonds. Bonds is a form of capital. It's a form of capital. And so I preach this all the time, that one of the things that we did get in the bill, it was a gentleman named Kilpatrick that was sitting on the committee that was advising the president about what to put in the CARES Act bill, and they did get $24 billion worth of capital infusion for minority banks, and that can create about $150 billion worth of lending. So that's a good start, right? Because that's our biggest problem in America. I mean, we got other problems, but the biggest problem is we're just not part of the fabric, which is capitalism, right? All of our victories happen on a social. You know, we get a street named after it. They got a dinner named after you. Got all of this, but none of that equates to capitalism, right? And so if we had our own money and stream of money and access to money, you wouldn't be as dependent on yeah, sorry about it. Yeah, so you wouldn't be as tied to minority procurement and that kind of stuff. And I also sit on the council for Michigan Minority Supplier Development. I'm the head of the group that has leased employees, professional services, and it has about 400 members in my group. So I preach this all the time, that, you know, access is not just the capital, but contracts and that type of stuff. Because America is built by entrepreneurs and job creators, right? And what we see right now with this conservative court, all these gains that we've made in affirmative action could be gone within a year. I mean, if they got rid of Roe versus Wade, affirmative action is very close to being gone. And Sandra Day O'Connor told us that about 10 years ago, that it wasn't meant to be permanent. It was a temporary fix, and it may be gone. So we got to be able to create opportunities on our own.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that. I think the more opportunity that is created, the more better this world would be, especially, you know, for our males. And like you said, just having more mentors and people around that can definitely assist them from doing what they have seen or have grew up around. So with your book,
can I say one more thing
sure,
about males?
go ahead. Absolutely.
One of the biggest thing that we can do for males, Black males, is teach them conflict resolution, right? I mean, a guy step on your shoe and 3 people die. I mean, for real? I mean, how do you get from somebody stepping on your shoe to you got to go kill him and his partner, and then they got to come looking for you? And most of the deaths and the things that happen and the squabbles start over things that don't make any sense to either party. It's just pride, but they've never learned how to resolve conflicts. And the only resolution of conflicts among Black males is death, right? I mean, that's the crazy part about it. But anyway, that's my take on it. We gotta start teaching conflict resolution.
Absolutely, I agree with that. So with your book, what do you want your audience, the people that are going to read this book, like the ones that may not know about it right now and just learning about your book, what is it that you want them to take from this book?
Well, what I want them to do, I want them to understand that college is not the only way out of the ghetto, in that the people that are undereducating our kids aren't the white men. It's black people that's over these schools, right? I mean, so we go and we talk about the white man and all that, but if you go to the Chicago public schools, the Detroit public schools, Lansing public schools, Oklahoma, Miami, it ain't nothing but black folks, right? And so we have to hold our own people more accountable, right? I mean, we have to start having that's the hardest conversation for African American people. It's easy to be mad at somebody a different race, but it's the harder part is to look at people that look like us and tell them that you're doing a terrible job. You need to improve this, right? We patronize those people for doing bad jobs and praise them for having high positions, right? And then they go into these schools, and I'm 100% opposed to this. They call them test schools, right? So they put a school in the middle of a impoverished neighborhood, and they call it a test school, which is basically a Jim Crow school, right? So you got to take a test to get into it, and they only take the best people. Don't that sound like Jim Crow? But it's just administered by black folks, right? I mean, that's the crazy part about it. It's just administered by black folks, and we allow it because we allow black people to do whatever we want to because we so focused on hating white folks, right? I mean, and we got to get in the people. And I tell people this all the time: black people are sitting at these tables. It's just the wrong black people, right? I mean, it's the wrong we got the wrong black people representing us because we let society push black folks on us that aren't for us, right? They just look like us, right? And once we call these people out and make it hard for them, but we sit back and allow this, and I'll tell this story. So if you're doing diversity in contracting, they always got some African American person, male or female, and they are always the nicest people in the world. I mean, they are usually the salt of the earth people that you would want to marry your brother or sister or mother, right? And instead of us pushing those companies to do more, we allow that person to keep their job, right? Because they really nice people, right? So we don't want, and if we complain, what they're going to do is fire that person. So those people become human shields. That's what they are. They just human shields. They just put these real nice people up there, and the diversity spin typically is just that person in that little department that patronize other black folks, right? And so we got to get to the point where we have to hold these folks accountable. And the issue is we don't have that much time because you got this Supreme Court and Trump and all these people. They didn't gave us 50, 60 years to get it right. Now they're about to close the door on these opportunities, right? And we're going to be back to where we were fighting and scratching, right? The laws aren't going to support diversity, right? And we never took advantage of it. So we, in these last days of it, we need to get on the stick, right? Yeah, that's a little bit about the diversity that I wanted to talk about.
Well, definitely, like this is things that we need to discuss and put on the table. A lot of people try to shy away from different things, but these things are needed to be discussed. So what's next for you, Mr. Charles? Like, I know with your book, You're still promoting that. You still have your hands in the community. What is next for you? What is coming for you? Is we're already in halftime of this year. This year is going to be literally gone in a minute. So we're going to be heading into a new year pretty soon. So what's next on your agenda? What's next to attack? What are some of your goals that you're aiming for next?
Well, I'm aiming, you know, one, I want to write another book. I want to write a book about urban economics, right? I want to hit that issue and give a how-to guide on for young people to understand the capitalistic system, right? And if we teach them that young, they'll learn it, right? That's one of my high priorities in the near future. I want to continue to grow my business, and I want to continue to try to get these young men educated, right? And and young women too. I mean, and I want to push for more diversity and opportunities in schools, right? I don't want it to be one size fits all. I want trade schools, or when I was in school, they called it industrial arts. I want that to be a focus too. And I want that to be a path that you can take, right? I mean, everything can't be college, right? I mean, everybody's just not fit for college. So the people that want to work with their hands or do trades or do whatever. And when we lost that, we lost a lot of entrepreneurs. We lost a lot of business people because when one of the biggest comparison contrasts in right now in schools, most of the contractors that actually did work in the schools were African American. They were the plumbers, the electricians. They kept the heat on. They did all that because we were separate, right? Now, if you look at urban schools, you can barely get a minority contractor in there, right? And so that's the other thing. And then I want to push economic diversity. And I tell people all the time, we fight the banks and everything for access to capital and credit and all that. And I said, all we need is the city of Chicago, the city of Detroit, the city of New York, the city of LA, the city of Miami to take half of their deposits that they have and put them in minority banks. And we immediately have access to capital, right? Because it's those cities right there are the biggest depositors in these majority banks that won't lend us money. And the city council sit there, all people of color, and complain that we don't have access to capital, and then they give all the capital we got to the majority banks. I mean, to make that make sense, right? So I want to go out and educate people about that. I want to go out and, see some of those changes. Those are the things that I'm working on in the future.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. So, what are 2 tips that you have to give to upcoming authors? What are your 2 top tips that you want to tell them if they are looking into taking the journey of becoming an author?
The biggest tip is write about something that you're passionate about. I mean, write about something that you have knowledge and passion about. And, it's not just all research. It's fun. You want to know something, and then you want to take that knowledge and give it to somebody else. And the other one is, once you say you're going to do it, do it. I mean, that's the biggest thing, because people talk to me all the time about, man, I want to write a book. I've been trying for 8 or 9 years, and I only got 1 chapter done. But the first thing to do is just do an outline of what the book is. Think through the book, and then just start writing. And set aside time to write. Put your thoughts on paper. because there's a lot of people out there that can help arrange the thoughts, but the thing is to get it all out there on paper and get your theory or your concept in writing and on paper. But it starts with having an outline, right? So those are mine too.
Yep, and I totally agree. Just write it. I think some people, they try to wait for the right time, and for me, I just be like, when is ever going to be the right time? If you keep waiting on that, you ain't gonna get it done, at all. So that's some great tips on that. So why don't you go ahead and let everybody know how they can connect with you, where they can go purchase your book at this time.
Yeah, so you can connect on me. You can get it from my website. It's Charles Moore Financial Guru, or you can get it on my CPA website. It's CL Moore and Associates CPA, and you can buy it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. We got, those are the two popular places to get it. But if you go to my website, you can click right in and go right there. It's Charles L. Moore CPA is the website. And it's got my autobiography and all that stuff in there. And it's a good read. Yep. And then if you go to Amazon, just don't put in Aftermath of Brown. Put in just Charles Moore CPA, and it pops right up.
All right. So, Mr. Charles Moore, we thank you so much for coming past Here's the Purpose Real Talk and just sharing with us your beautiful tips, how you got started, how this book came about, and what is your heart concerning the men and what needs to become effective in our world today. So I thank you so much for being an advocate and being who you are and deciding to make a decision to, help lead the men in a different and more positive direction. So we look forward to hearing more about great work that you're doing. We're definitely going to keep promoting your book because it is a must read and it is very necessary for today. Also, if many of you do not know, Mr. Charles Moore is one of our sponsors for Why Didn't I Listen play that will be dropping very soon. And so we just thank him for just being a part and sowing seed into this. And we're going to continue to sow by sharing out his work and what he's doing. And so, Mr. Charles, let us know if any events are coming up so that we can help promote it across the airwaves or whatever you have your hands to next. So thank you so much.
All righty.
All right. You have a great day, Mr. Charles.
You too. Bye-bye.
So again, that was Mr. Charles Moore. He is an author, and you've heard all the great things that he's putting his hands to. We just thank God for him and for his mindset to want to change the dynamic of the way men are being viewed, y'all. That is so important that we push our men, the men in your life. You should be pushing them. I said on Father's Day, I had made a video and I said on Father's Day, I said, listen, these fathers don't want your gifts. Okay. That's all well, good and fine. What y'all need to be doing is praying for these men, praying for their minds, praying for their heart posture, praying that they will be better men, because these are men that are your fathers. These are men that are your uncles, your sons, your nephews, your cousins. And I can go on and on and on. And we have to get real. The men are being attacked. Why? Because they are the head. Hello. They are the seed carriers. Amen. So we have to continue to pray for them. So listen, before we get off the air, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has been joining us week after week for these awesome shows with these awesome guests. So you guys make sure that you go check out their stuff. And also as well, we are coming up on our 4-year anniversary. Tears to Purpose will be celebrating 4 years of anniversary, and we're going to do it virtual style. So we will be putting out information about that much soon. And if you guys want to be in on the celebration, listen, do not miss it. We are going to celebrate and go down memory lane and come on back. So that will be going down on July 22nd at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we will be announcing all the deeds for that. So stay tuned. Also, as well, if you are a woman under the sound of my voice and you have a story that you want to tell, well. Listen. We are going to still be collecting women in the lineup to be a part of our virtual monologues. The theme is My Story, God's Glory, Cinderella edition. So if that is you and you know someone, tag a woman and tell them you need to tell your story. Why? Because you are showing evidence that the Lord can do it over and over and over. And that always happens when we tell our testimonies and we slap the devil upside his head and tell him that he has no power in our lives at all, because we are free indeed. So that's what you want to do. If you want to be a part of it, please email me at sb2dance@gmail.com. It doesn't matter what state you are in, baby. We've been doing this thing virtual for some time now, and we also will be heading down to Newport News, Virginia. Hey, for our second monologue of this year. Actually, maybe 3 times, because we did it already online, I think about 2 times. So maybe this will be about the 4th, 5th time. I don't know who's counting. But anyways, we about to be in Virginia, going down to share our lovely monologue live with 3 awesome women who have awesome stories. So if you are in the Newport News area and you want to know about tickets, then you need to connect with me, inbox me, or email me at sb2dance@gmail.com. And again, I want to thank you all. So if you guys would like to just participate in anything or being a guest on the show, please email me or DM me or inbox me, however you're seeing this going across your timeline. And also, I just want to make this brief announcement that Tears to Purpose is doing their second event this year. Well, first of all, we have 2 events going on in 2 different locations. So we have Chicago, area where they are the leaders, Lakeisha, Giles, Ninick, and Jade Solis. They are doing a youth event in Chicago on August the 6th. And in DC, we will be doing our first community Sound the Alarm worship community event on August the 6th, starting at 1 p.m. So if you are a face painter, if you are a painter, if you are a vendor in businesses and you're trying to get some spotlight on your business and want to come and be a part of this worship event, please, if you are in the DMV area, please connect with me, tag somebody along your timeline. If you're seeing this and you're watching this, please, we are looking for praise dancers. We are also looking for donations for school supplies, and not only just school supplies, because we're trying to bring salvation and Christ back to these neighborhoods. And if you have, we're looking for donations for hygienic products for families and children, as well as gift cards as well. So if you want to be of a blessing to this and you're seeing this video, please make sure that you DM me or inbox me or contact me at sb2dance@gmail.com. You guys come on and help us be a part of this. And if you want to donate to the Chicago hub, you can do that as well by reaching out to me or reaching out to Lakeisha Giles Ninick, and she will tell you how you can donate for the Chicago event. It's going down in both spots, y'all. It's going down. So listen, we are triple excited about that. And stay tuned. Shout out to all the sponsors who are a part of the Why Didn't I Listen project, which is being filmed next weekend on July 16. Keep us in your prayers as we are headed to the finish line with this awesome project that is getting ready to drop, which is a must see. Okay, a must see. Don't ask me why she didn't listen. You got to find out why she didn't listen. Shout out to the cast. And so you guys get ready, because tickets will be going on sale starting this month for that premiere date. So tickets are going to go fast. So you got to make sure y'all listen out for when we announce that tickets will be ready to go on sale for the premiere of Why Didn't I Listen? And if you still want to be a sponsor and have your business broadcast in some type of way, you know how to get in contact with me. And let's do this. All right. So listen, it's come to the end. How sad am I? But listen, I want to leave you with this word of encouragement. Listen, you are what God has called you to be. You are going to make it. It does not matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter what you see. listen, I need you to keep your eyes on God and continue to do what he has called you to do in the earth. So look, that's my time. I'm Audi 5000, and I will see you guys next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tears to Purpose, Real Talk. Bye-bye.
Experts, Christian relationship experts, that is. People in ministry that have a phenomenal story. All kinds of business owners, from restaurants to beauty to financial.